And we're live.
All right.
Hey, Martin, thank you. I am so excited that we have a world exclusive of you talking about extreme confidence and this exciting live demo.
Right?
Yeah.
Not that we want to big things up too much, right? You know, we don't want to create too much drama, but world exclusive. I have not talked to anybody about this. You are the first. And I certainly haven't done a live demonstration like this. So that's exciting.
It is exciting, and let's big it up because it is exciting.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, Jill, thanks for having me back. You know, I love you to bits. We always have great conversations. And the community that you built here is just amazing. And it's enviable. You know, you've got amazing people here. They engage. You add so much value, bringing in guests every week, lots of different topics. It's extraordinary. And I want you, you know, if nobody's told you lately, I want you to know that because it really is.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Martin. And I'm so thrilled that you said yes to coming back, because I was reading your posts about extreme confidence and the fact that, you know, it's been 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's something really special and really to be celebrated. And I thought I so wanted you to come back and talk about that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And celebrate you.
Thank you. Celebrate us. Celebrate everyone, right? Let's celebrate everybody. And indeed how we can move forward with extreme confidence, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for having me on. We're gonna have a blast. We're gonna have a good time. There's gonna be probably plenty of stories, a little bit of inspiration, and that crazy live demo at the end. Who knows how that's gonna go? Oh, I feel like I'm on like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent or something. there's no pressure at all. So, but I just want to bring it to life because we can talk about stuff, but there's nothing more than seeing it. You know, to see it and to see it live, even if it is virtual, that adds an extra element to it. So yeah, a privilege to do this with you today.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. I can't tell you how thrilled I am, you know. But tell it, what is extreme confidence and why was that something that was so important for you to bring into everything that you do?
Yeah, that is a great question. That's a great question. Shall we answer that with a story?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, like you said earlier, this has been like 3 years in the making. You know, if people don't know my backstory, I spent 20 years in the corporate world, you know, climbing that corporate ladder, and did some great stuff there, but it took a toll. And you know, low-level stress turned into high stress, depression, generalized anxiety disorder, insomnia, liver disease, burnouts, and it got a lot worse. You know, so ever since I had kind of the epiphany and one conversation saved my life, I've been on this journey to go, right, well, how can I use what I learned, the life lessons I learned of what to do and what not to do, you know, to help other people. And so for the last kind of like 6 years now, I've been on this journey to help others, you know, and predominantly stressed dads like I used to be, but not exclusively, but predominantly stressed dads. And that's about just helping them, you know, get back in control of their workload, their time, their habits, their daily routine, and getting that balance back with their family.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. And so I went into, you know, I never planned this, you know, 10 years ago, I didn't plan to go into coaching or mentoring or training, but it's what I do because it's how I can then deliver what I know to people. And I'm not it's all going to make sense. Don't worry. I am
No, I know that.
You know, I don't see myself as a purist coach. You know, I'm not going to sit there and just ask questions. You know, I'm also not a purist mentor either, but I like to bring my experience to the fore because that's what I help people with. But then sometimes there are blueprints, aren't there, or frameworks or useful strategies or structures that you kind of need to train somebody on. So I'm like this this hybrid, and I think it's a powerful hybrid. And so I can help people with that. And I've done so much work, not just on my own story and my life lessons, but then spent time with amazing people to learn, is there anything else that I could learn to help other people? You know, how can it help my life? And how can I share it to help other people's lives? So a lot of what I do is talking, funnily enough. I'm not quite good at that. A lot of talking, but there is movement, there's stuff you can do, isn't there? There's energy work, and then, you know, we could do, you know, timeline stuff. You know, again, I don't go over the top with, you know, telling everybody what I'm qualified in or anything like that. You know, it's like I'm here to help somebody in front of me, and whatever I use is going to be the most appropriate thing to help them.
Yeah.
So there is this I just desire to help people, and so they don't suffer like I used to. And kind of dovetailed with this is the fact that I'm a huge nerd, and I'm also a huge, like, into adventure. I love extreme stuff. You know, I love climbing. You know, I love snowboarding.
Yeah.
I love roller coasters. We love roller coasters, Jill. And so there's an adventure side to me. And ever since I started this journey, there was always this kind of vision that, yeah, I was helping people, but at some point I want to run, you know, day events or retreats and take people out of their normal situation, out of their comfort zone. Because, you know, when we got that monotony of a life, we're seeing the same four walls, and we travel from this one to this one, and it's the same, all that stress, all that anxiety, all that, you know, all those emotions get caught up with that. So if you can take somebody out of the situation, it stimulates them differently, doesn't it? I mean, you've had plenty of guests on that demonstrate that and show you know, you want to get them out of their heads.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's always been a mission of mine to make sure that at some point I could take people away. I could give them an experience that they're never going to forget, that they're going to be able to anchor new emotions to, and get them out of those thought patterns, because we're trying to break the patterns that they're in.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of the origin story of, that's kind of where I wanted that to go. And I had that vision of, you know, doing a day with people, and we do some activities. I'll take them climbing or axe throwing, and then we'd all be around a fire together. And that's when the real mastermind happens, right? Around the fire where everyone's relaxed and we just talk it through. And it's like, that's me, right? That's just embodies what I'm doing. And then 3 years ago, I had an experience that then took that to a whole new level that I didn't really know existed. So my good friend, and he's my coach and mentor as well, Adam Brooks, he invited me to be the opening speaker of his event, which was quite a bold move because it was only my second speaking engagement. There's some faith, right? So no pressure, Martin, opening speaker. But this day built, I mean, I had amazing speakers all the way through, and it was building everyone's confidence.
Yeah.
To then do a fire walk at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And, you know, because that was a big draw. And we raised lots of money for charity, but obviously a fire walk is like, what are you talking about? You know, those coals are 1800 degrees. That you can't walk on that. Well, obviously you can, you know, but it is a little bit of mind over matter and knowing how to do it. You know, it's not fake. So we were gearing up for this firewalk, which in and of itself is an extraordinary experience that rewires you in a second. And dare I say, my firewalk training will commence next year. So I'll be getting, you know, qualified to be able to host those as well. So, and then I've got the full suite.
Wow.
So that's exciting. So tune in for that next year, right?
Right.
But here's an interesting thing. Before we did the firewalk, unbeknownst to us, Lottie Moore, who's now my mentor in the breakthrough training, she whipped out some of these. And we thought, what are you going to do with those arrows? And she got, with everything that we had learned and getting clarity on where we wanted to go, what was holding us back, and really going deep into that, we broke these arrows. And it was, these are not trick arrows. These are arrows from the archery store, right? And there's a lot of different arrows you can get, but these are genuine arrows, metal tipped. See
Yeah.
that? Metal tip. That's the end. Is where the string the bow. I was actually doing archery at the weekend, which was good fun. But these are what you use. You're like, what are you going to do with those? And the whole exercise is that you put the end up against the wall, solid surface. And you put this metal tip right here in the fleshy bit. Just feel that fleshy bit there, Jill. And anyone who's watching,
Yeah.
put your finger in that fleshy bit.
Jenny's here.
Jenny, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Jenny. Right? You put your finger in that fleshy bit, and it's the most unnatural place that you want to put your finger. You put any pressure there, it's like, oh God, no, no, right? It's not like you're poking your thigh or something. It's like,
no, it's really tender.
It is. It's very soft and very tender. So you place the metal tip of the arrow right in that tender soft bit there. There's no barrier, there's nothing. And obviously, it goes without saying, don't try this at home without somebody that knows what they're doing. And by all accounts, believe it or not, that's me.
Yeah, Jenny said, fleshy bit, ouch. It is ouch.
Right, fleshy bit, ouch. Not a chance. I am not going to stick that right there up against the wall. And then you've got to break the arrow, not using your hands, with the force of your momentum. So you move forward to break it. So all that force goes here. A little bit of foreshadowing for later. The most unnatural thing to do, and fearful and scary and ridiculous thing to do. But like I said, with the right intention, with the right training, with the right environment, then it is entirely possible that you do it without injury. It's not to say it's not difficult, because it is. It takes everything you've got. And we did that. And I got to tell you, it was the most profound thing I've ever done. It made the firewall may as well have been blankets. The firewall is still like, it's 1800 degrees. It's ridiculous. Right? And you walk across it. But for me, this arrow break was just extraordinary, because the whole thing is that you anchor in something holding you back. This arrow represents, and this is just one of the things that extreme confidence I can do. But let's just talk about this one for a minute. But you anchor in something that's really holding you back. So it might well be, not having that difficult conversation, or not taking your business to the next level, or it might be something to do with your health or your relationship.
Yeah.
It's something like you need to live in your best life, and you're not. But what's the thing holding you back? Fear of public speaking, right? I would never get on stage. Well, we do work on whatever it is that's relevant to you in that moment, and those things change over time. And we anchor that into, in this instance, the arrow. This arrow represents the thing holding you back, and it's the thing that you're saying, I can't do. I would never be able to do that. I couldn't do that. That's not for me. Well, that's what this represents. So if you can snap this arrow, because this is the most unnatural thing for you to do. Yeah. That is ridiculous. I would not do that. That is too dangerous. Of course, I'm not going to do that. If you do that and you've anchored in something that's holding you back in life, well, you can break anything, right? You can break through that if you can do that. And in this moment, it not only breaks the thing holding you back that we've done the work on, but can you imagine if anything else then held you back in the future? This might be something about public speaking, but then there's something else that happens, something about your health. Oh, I haven't got the time or the energy to work out, or whatever it might be. Or, I don't like social media, and, I know I need to do it for my business, but I just feel so icky about it. If you've got the arrow to fall back on, not literally, what a funny phrase. Why did I say that? If you've got that experience to fall back on, there you go, that's better. It's definitely a better way to word it. And you go, I did that. Like, whatever's holding you back about your health or your business pales into insignificance when it comes to, I broke a what on my throat, or I walked across hot coals, or I walked, as the other things that I can now help you with. I can do arrows. I can also, we could do board breaking. So we break through boards, or we do.
I've lost your sound, Martin. Can't hear you.
Get back, everybody, get back, stand back.
I lost you then for a minute, Martin. I couldn't hear you.
Am I back? Am I
Yes,
back?
we're back now. I was trying to tell you, obviously you couldn't hear me.
No, I couldn't, sorry.
It's okay. If I do that again, I can't hear you.
That's good. We got signals now. I want signals. So yeah, I was talking about, so we've got the arrow break that I can do. And this is actually the very first arrow I broke.
Wow.
So that experience I just told you about, this is the very first one. And they say you don't forget your first one. And there's all kinds of things that some people do with it, like they bind it up, or they frame it, or they bury it, or it's just all kinds of things. The interesting thing about this is there's a chunk missing, because this bad boy split into 3 and we lost the middle piece. It went everywhere. It was like amazing. But yeah, I can help. I do the arrow break. I can do board breaking, which is a little bit of history, I guess. The arrow break is like an ancient Fijian ritual. So shows that courage, that strength, that mental strength and physical strength. And then you got board breaking, which is breaking through the boards, which is very obviously from martial arts, very ancient traditions to do with that. And then there's the glass walking. And the glass walking is funny because it's almost like it hasn't got an origin story. Somebody just decided to do that and do, that'd be good. Let's try that. It's got less of an origin story. But again, it's so unnatural a thing to do, because if you break a glass in the kitchen, it goes everywhere. Your first instant reaction is stay away, don't cut your feet.
Yeah.
So why on earth would you walk along like 6 foot of broken glass? But again, you do it in the right way, if it's been prepared right. And again, the important thing with all of this is it isn't fake. This is as real as an arrow gets.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, it's not the medieval one when you've got the pointy thing, but this is a metal tipped arrow that they use. Goes into the targets. Okay, you can get gold with that. The boards aren't. There's not. People think when they see the martial artists do it and they break through and they think there's like a split or something, that it's kind of like
not, though.
broken. It's not. It's a wooden board. Right? Yeah. There's different thicknesses you can get. And it's the same with the glass. The glass is real. The interesting thing is I can get the resources for the boards and the arrows, but I've got to make my own glass wood. So it's as real as you get. So I hook it up with my local restaurant and pub, and they're going to be supplying me with the spirit bottles and the wine bottles for me to smash up and prepare my glass wood, right? Wow. So it doesn't get any more real than that. The beautiful thing with that is they supply the bottles and then I do an event for them. So they literally walk over the bottles that they've supplied. It's like,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool. So these are the activities that I'm now trained in doing it. And each and every one of them, you can anchor in this kind of belief. Like, so on the boards, for example, I often get people to write down what's the belief that's holding them back. And this is the first board I broke, and it's I need certainty. I'm given my background in financial services and everything that's happened to me, very much certainty was something I always needed. But it is a human need. But if you live by certainty, you're really going to struggle because nothing is certain, right? The world's changing constantly. And that's a problem. So I was actually breaking through that belief of I needed certainty for everything. And you have to then put on the back of that where you want to get to and what it is, the belief that you want to replace it with. And so you really attach it to that, and you can write on the arrow as well. but it anchors in that belief. You smash through the board, you break the arrow. And for the glass walk, it's like, where do you want to get to? What's the vision? You know, what do you see in terms of your life, or that goal that you want, or how you want to live, or how you want to be? Really the end of the, just like a firewalk would be, it's the end of the journey. And the bit in between, all the broken glass, that's all the obstacles, that's all the challenges, that's all the stuff holding you back.
Yeah.
So with 1 foot at a time, very slowly and gently, you walk across, and you can adjust your step, which is something you don't do with a firewalk, otherwise you get burnt. You know, you slowly but surely, and you hear it's crazy. You hear all the glass breaks under your weight. So you're literally breaking. You get this association with breaking all the beliefs holding you back with every step, and you're being really mindful and deliberate and in the moment. And then
Yeah.
you get to the other side, and you look, you've done it, and you're like, it feels amazing. You get this massive release.
Yeah.
And this is extreme confidence.
Mm.
But
And that is actually making those beliefs and those things that are holding you back small,
yeah,
underneath the power of you.
yeah, absolutely, it is.
And I can relate to that, because that's exactly what I got with flying.
Yes.
You know, when I took off on my own for the first time and landed the plane, it was like, I can do anything then.
Yes.
And you know, when you're up there and you think of a problem or anything that's down here, you can put your thumb over it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that small, really.
It is.
And that's what that's doing, isn't it? It's actually making those issues that get in the way of living a powerful life.
Yeah.
Small.
Yeah. It is.
It's not making them nothing.
No.
But it's making you more powerful than them.
Exactly. That what you just said. Because we're always going to have fears and anxieties and worries and stresses. Anybody out there that's saying, oh, you can live a stress-free life, or I'm going to eradicate stress and fear from your life, it's like, it's BS.
Yeah.
It's the human condition. Part of being a human is that we have these emotions.
Yeah. But you can become more powerful than them.
Exactly. If they rule our life, then that's like, you know, for my 20 years when all that stress was building and building, look where it led. If you let it overrun your life, then it builds up into bigger problems, you know, and bigger challenges for you to overcome. Yeah. So the whole point of really life is to, you know, trying to help you deal with those emotions.
Yeah.
You know, how can we respond? You know, one of my big things is, how do you respond rather than react? That react, that immediate emotion, but how do we respond to a situation? You know, and it's all linked to all of that, because this whole experience is this extreme confidence, those 3 activities that I can now guide people through. You know, this kind of epiphany that I had 3 years ago, you know, you said that story, and I had that vision of kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to take people out of the ordinary and out of their environment and get them doing things that they didn't think they could do. And I was just using my frame of reference, some of the stuff that I love to do, that I know served me. Because trust me, when you're climbing, you can't think of anything else.
No.
Your thoughts can't wander, because otherwise you're going to fall off the wall, right? It is as simple as that. Same with snowboarding. You can't just like, oh, just start worrying and stressing, because you're going to hit something, fall over and hurt yourself. So I love the mindfulness of it, being in the moment, not letting our thoughts race. But what I also found was that you can do those things, and it could give you a temporary release of maybe stress or what you're feeling. But then if you then go back to the environment you were in, all those feelings come back up again. And for me, there was just something like, oh man, I want to do both. I don't want them going back and feeling that again.
Back to the same,
Yeah, which is kind of where your coach comes in and your mentor comes in, because we help you, we talk it through, we deal with the issues and the challenges as they come up, we deal with the emotions as they come up, and it's wonderful. But then I came across these sorts of activities that could literally rewire your brain in an instant.
Yeah.
You know, we could talk about and eventually get to an answer and help. We could do like that. And that, for me, that was just fascinating. It was like, but you can't believe it unless you've done it.
No.
And having now done this a lot of times, it's like, it's helped me so many times. Like every time you then go to do it, you've got something else. There's always something. It's not ego that you want more and more and more. It's like, we just want to grow and develop and be better and be a better parent, or be a better husband or wife, or be a better business person, be able to help people better, whatever it might be. You know,
We're here to create, aren't we?
Yeah. If we don't develop and grow, we don't just stagnate, we get low, we don't go anywhere. That's when people get stuck in the same rut day in, day out, and they just don't feel like they got purpose, and they feel sad. And come on, I've been there, right?
Yeah.
So growing and you know, taking that, you know, uncomfortable action, as some people say, but just trying new things is powerful. And I loved what you said about the flying, because it's, again, flying is quite an extreme thing. Not everybody does it, right? You know? But if you've got the right instructor, you've got the right equipment, right? And you've been trained and you've put the time in, you can do it.
Yeah.
You know? But if you can do that, like you say, that in the same way rewires you to go, oh my God, I can do what? I don't even understand how a plane can fly. I mean, that's so unnatural. But here I am in control of that. And when I wake up in the morning, I can go, you know what? It's a nice sunny day. Let's go down to the airport, grab a plane, and just jet off to somewhere. And I know you've done this. It's like, what freedom that gives you.
Yeah.
But part of it is not just like the logistical thing, I can fly a plane.
It's the knowing it. It's,
yeah. Look what I can achieve. Look what I've done. If I can do that, well, this thing over here that I want to do too, I can definitely do that. Give me the right people, give me the right environment, give me the right training, the resources, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Well, I can do that. If I can do that, I can do that. And also, as an aside, I loved, you know, that perspective. It's why I love going up to on top of hills and mountains, because then you look down on the world, not in a like snobby way, right?
No.
You look down and you go, it just gives you a perspective to go, this is life. All the worries and the day-to-day hustle and bustle, it just pales into insignificance, and you see the world for what it is, just a beautiful, incredible place. And we are just a privilege to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And maybe some of those things I've been worrying about, stressing about, maybe they're not as important as I thought. Maybe they're not getting in my way as much as I thought.
Yeah.
And so we're kindred spirits in terms of that perspective.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons for like my extraordinary time, extraordinary life work that I do, which is kind of, once you come out of stress, you know, what is your best life? What is living a life worth remembering? What is your most extraordinary life? You know, and helping people get the clarity and the roadmap to that. But it's the reason why the imagery for that is planet Earth, because there's nothing more, you know, give you greater perspective than seeing our beautiful planet from space.
Yeah.
And going, we're on there. We're on that, and that's hurtling through space. And if it was spinning, you know, a bit faster or a bit slower, if it was further away or closer to the sun, if the moon wasn't in exactly the right place and spinning around us like it does, if all these things weren't in place and it was just slightly different, we wouldn't be here.
I know. It's incredible, isn't it?
That you don't have to like understand it all.
No.
Just you can go, that is truly, truly incredible. No matter what your beliefs are.
And we are part of it.
Oh, we are part of it. We're shaping it. We can experience it. But we do get bogged down in day to day and what we think's important, and we get distracted, and you know, that's kind of what we do, right? And many of the people in this community do. We help people find their way. You know, they find themselves again and live in a way that lights them up and lights the people up around them. And so this is my, you know, I've been on this whole journey, and it's not, that's the essence of what I want for everybody. I just want people to live their best life, a life worth remembering, an
Yeah,
extraordinary life. And it means something different to everybody.
it does.
You know, success, you know, people say about success, but success means different things to different people. For some people, success is growing a massive business and having multi-million pounds or having the yellow Lamborghini. And I'm not going to begrudge that. If that's what they want, then that's
No,
fine. Work to get it. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
yeah, but don't,
It's a simple life.
yeah.
Actually, you know,
And
like,
actually, what we need to get over is we need to get over this not accepting what it is for another person.
yeah,
You know, the person who wants the Lamborghini
yeah,
thinks the person who wants to live on a hill farm somewhere isn't being successful.
Mm.
And there's this wedge then that comes between people. And instead it's, this is my desire and want,
yeah.
and living that and celebrating everybody else's, no matter what it looks like.
Right. That.
Yeah,
That's what I want. That is what I want for people. And because the situation you just explained there usually has two outcomes. If you're not kind of balanced and accepting and just living your life to the best of it, you either get resentful of somebody who you
yeah,
think's got something that you don't have or you deserve,
yeah.
or you just compare yourself.
Mm,
Either, if you're comparing yourself to somebody else, you don't know their backstory, you don't know the heartache they've been through, you don't know the work they've put in or not put in. You, you know, it's it's a fruitless exercise that only ever is detrimental to you.
yeah.
Don't you feel like you're not enough? You
Mm,
know, and you know, having been around some very successful people, they'll all say, you know, all the money in the world is great, but you can have all the money in the world and be completely depressed,
mm,
completely unhealthy. You can have relationships that aren't going anywhere, or you even struggle to form a relationship. It's like sometimes we chase the wrong things because we think they're gonna help us, but they don't. But that's life. It's learning. It's also why there are coaches and mentors and trainers and people to help
yeah,
guide through that. Because sometimes we get carried away. One of the things that happens actually is somebody does have a plan. I love it when they achieve what they set out to do.
yeah,
Like, goodness, and we've worked so hard and we've gone through this process and this journey, and it's been amazing. You've gone on your own hero's journey. It's incredible. And then they get there and they go, "Is this it?" it's
yeah,
like, it's like it feels good in the moment and it feels good for a little while, and then they're going, like we said earlier, we're born to grow and develop and want new experiences. So when we get to wherever it is we want to get to, we kind of go,
where now?
what's next,
Yeah,
right? So and I love that, having been really stuck for like 20 years. Like I said, did good things, but I paid a big toll. But it was because of how I was looking at life, work, myself, and the world. And when I came out of all of that, it was like seeing the world in 4K for the first time, or 8K, or I don't know what it is nowadays, 200K, I don't know. It's like seeing the world for the first time and realizing the opportunity there was. And that we have more power and control over things than we ever thought possible.
yeah,
Bring this full circle, what gets in our way of living that way are all the beliefs that we have, all the things we think we can't do, or we shouldn't do, or we couldn't do. And that's usually based on, you know, some past memory, or somebody's told us that, you know, oh no, that's not for you, or the naysayers. And it's all of that stuff, or the comparisons that we just talked about, or being resentful. If you're resentful, you ain't going to move forward to even get near where the thing is that you want, because you're so wrapped up in being frustrated and resentful.
yeah,
So if we can release some of these things, it 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 opens up your world. And it did for me. You know, the thing about everything I do is I don't coach, mentor, or train anything that I haven't literally experienced myself.
Yeah.
I could, there's stuff that I've learned, and but for me, it's just that authenticity.
Yeah.
If I've done it, if I've experienced it, if I've got the emotional impact, if I've then had I know what those knock-on effects are, because people overcome one thing and they think, oh, that's amazing, I can do this, but you don't realize it's a ripple effect. So when you've experienced that, you know what's coming, and it's exciting to help people do that.
It is.
So we can work on our coaching, we can work on our mentoring, we can work on our training, we can work on all the strategies and the frameworks. And I love that. And I've spent 6 years and tens of thousands of pounds trying to figure all this out and put my story into a way that can help people, and the life lessons plus the extra stuff. But then there's this kind of physical side, this like breaking through in an instant, this experience that will never go away, that you'll be able to anchor not just that thing in the moment, but reference for the rest of your life in terms of comparing any obstacle you then come. For me, that was the thing that then went, wow, I need that in my life. So 3 years ago, after the Firewalk, Lottie came up to me, the host of the Firewalk, and said, man, you really enjoyed that. I could just see this was just, you were in your element, literally. And I've always loved fires, campfires, and all that kind of stuff. In scouting, right? Flint and steel with my boys, it's like amazing. He said, you ought to really consider being a trainer, being able to host this yourself, because I can see this is just you. And I hadn't even thought of it. I thought I could go to events like this. I'd like to do this again. I'd like to do a Firewalk again. I'd like to break an arrow again. But I hadn't thought I could be the one doing it. But that little seed was then sowed, and it was like, wow, you know what? I think we could.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like a pandemic happened, and and a lot of different circumstances happened. And it was like, oh, I want to do it. This 3 years in the making was, I want to do it. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out until, as we record this, about, was it 2-3 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
Probably 2 weeks ago. I actually got to do the breakthrough training with Lottie. We made it happen. We made it happen local, not the Firewalk stuff, because that's like a 5-day thing that we do elsewhere. But it was like, you know what? Let's get you trained up in this stuff. Let's get you trained up in board breaking, glass walking, and arrow breaking, because you can do that straight away. And it doesn't take much. You can do that in an office. You can do that in a hall. You can do it at home. You can do it. It's less work than a Firewalk.
Yeah.
And you can start impacting people right now. So the first chance we had to do this, I grabbed it, we did it, we made it happen, and here I am talking to you for the first time about extreme confidence. But a lot of this is, we've talked about that journey, the origin of this. Why is this so important? Because otherwise somebody could say, oh, it's a bit of a novelty, isn't it? Like we've already said, it's not a trick.
Yeah.
Real arrow, this at speed.
Yeah.
And in fact, even this, if you do this wrong, devastating consequences. The boards, you don't do that properly, you're going to hurt yourself.
Good,
you don't do that properly, you start jumping around on it, then you're going to have problems. It isn't a novelty, it's not fake, it's not a trick. But man, has it got real power. And it's something that has just stuck with me that I can then refer to every time. Every time you then do it, there's something new that comes up. So I just wanted that a part of my life. I've now got it. It's so exciting to be able to bring that to people.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, like the board breaking, for example, I can do that virtually. My first board break was actually a virtual one.
Really?
Because I can post that out to you, and you just need the board and two tables or 2 chairs. As long as it's a stable surface, I can guide you through it. Again, we have to do the work beforehand, but I can guide you through, and you could do it. I'm not going to send one of these through the post to you.
No, I bet it wouldn't go through the post.
I'm not going to do that, but I could do the board breaking virtually. Well, that's great, because a lot of my stuff is done virtually. The other stuff, now I can do in person. And I can do it at my own events, which I'm planning. Or what's becoming, what's happening is people want me to attend their events.
Mm.
So I've already got events booked up.
Do you
now.
do a group virtual board breaking session?
Yeah, I could do that. I would love to do that, right? Because we can, and that could be part of, again, I could be part of an event that I do. And so we build up to that, and then that's like a finale, brilliant. Or it can be part of somebody else's event where I do a session, and we, like I say, we do all the pre-work and we make sure we got that vision and we got what's holding our back and we really anchored it in and we basically slayed the dragon is what I call it. We slay that belief, we replace it with something else, but to really cement that in, let's do a board break, if it's virtual, or we do with some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that really just brings it to life in a way that, because sometimes we intellectualize it. Yeah, we can think it through, but when we've experienced it, a bit like flying, when we've experienced it with every fiber in our body, it has a different response. We are wired differently as a result of that experience. So sometimes we've got to get out of our head and into our bodies. Right? As coaches, we like to kind of talk about that, because when we're in our head, we're also all the thoughts racing and racing and racing, and we can't see the wood for the trees, and everything's like. So when we can actually come out of our head and actually experience it as a full body thing, then it really has that impact. So yeah, I can do that virtually, and I can do in person. And like I said, I'm now I've not promoted it. I did one post, I think that's the post that you saw, to say, hey, I'm so excited. I don't usually talk about qualifications, but this one's really special. 3 years in the making, and it's a little bit different. And as a result, I'm now getting bookings because they want me to come to their events.
Yeah.
And some of it is their events, some of it is their teams. Companies, want to do like a team day. If you've got a small business, it's a great way to bring people together and let's just work on bringing us back as a business. And let's look at that, and then let's have some fun. We're doing a crazy activity at the end to really cement in the fact that we're going to make these plans happen. So there are so many ways that you can use it, and that people are seeing that they can use it.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting. It's I love it. For me, there are different ways that you can use these activities. For me, it is all about that, right? Where do you want to be? Be the business or your health or whatever it is in your life. What is that next version of yourself? What's holding you back? And we really dissect that. I've got a framework that we go through that, and we make sure that that is slayed, replace it with something that makes perfect sense, usually just a small shift. So it's not like you have to believe the grass is blue, right? It's literally just small shifts in life and how you're looking at things, and all of a sudden you're on a different path. And then you can just like really cement it and anchor it in, and get feedback after the event and check in with them, a week or 2 weeks later, and just see how things are going. And the stories from my own experience, I did that arrow break, and I had an intention and nailed it, right? What I wasn't prepared for was, like, over the next 2 weeks, all of this release came out. And a little bit of an aside story, what I hadn't connected dots, that I had a lot of trauma associated with my airways.
Right.
I haven't talked about this before. Hey, world exclusive, whatever. Let's get personal and let's get real, right? Because that's what we're here for, Jill. So, what you might have heard me say before, that I'm on my 5th chance of life. Well, I died once. I've been lying on my living room floor twice, taking my last 2 breaths, very specific, 2 breaths, and then decided to end it all. So I'm on my 5th chance of life. But what I realized was the first, when I die, I drowned, and there's a whole experience there that I could describe, but I drowned, and it was my dad that dragged me out of the pool and resuscitated me, and just thankful, right? But that's airways, right?
Yeah.
When you drown, it's airways. The other 2 times when I'm led on my living room floor taking my last 2 breaths is like asthma related, airways.
Yeah.
I hadn't really twigged all of this, because you don't. You live life and you move forward, and you know you're growing and developing, and you're finding purpose in life. But when I got this thing out and I did that, literally the day after, this just flood of release just came out of me, and I was on the phone to Lottie and Adam. I go, "You're never going to believe what's happened. I'm feeling like this. I've just connected all the dots. I've just released all this." This is the beauty of some of these activities. You go in with a certain intention, you nail that, and then you get these extra benefits. And it's also a reason why you don't just let people just go and don't support them afterwards.
And that's that. I was going to say that to you, Martin. That's a really important part of it, isn't it?
Really important.
That support is thereafter.
Exactly. And that's what and this is why it's so congruent for me, because that's always how it's been. I don't want to just leave, have one session and then, oh yeah, off you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there, whether you want to work with me, like want to set up regular things with me after a while or not. I'm still going to be there in case you need me. And I've had this. I've worked really intensely with people like managing directors, and we've overcome all kinds of issues and confidence things and self-belief. And then we've gotten to a certain point and it's brilliant, and off they go. It's like, well, I'm still here. And then they tap into me, a month or two later, it's like, this has happened, Ryan. I felt this. Can we talk it through? Yeah, sure. I ain't going anywhere. If you've come into my world, I'm here to support you no matter what, because this isn't about a 3-month coaching program. This isn't even about a 12-month coaching program. This is about ongoing support, because as a human being, you're always growing, always developing, always getting more challenges, always having thoughts. We've all got those, and we're our own worst enemy when it comes to thoughts. So we've got all of this going on all the time. And even when you make that progress, when you make that next level, just like we've talked about, there's then what next? Or that you'll challenge it. You think, well, once I get to there, I won't have any problems or challenges. But the problems and challenges are just different. They might be on a different scale, right? So there's always something. And this is the world I live in. This is the world I just love with a passion, to help people just see the best in themselves, see the best in the world, and just live their best life. And anything I can do, put myself through, train myself, learn, an experience I can have that can obviously help me, but then I can share. Literally anything I do, my first thought is, how can I share this? How can I use this to help somebody else? And I don't say that for bragging rights. I just, that's how I'm wired now. It took me 26 years, last 26 years to figure this stuff out. But when you find that, and I believe with every fiber in my body, it's my purpose. When you find that, man, it doesn't matter what else is going on in the world, or, with the bank account or anything. No. We're living on purpose. We're adding value, we're helping, we're here to serve, we're here to get better and do better. And the better that we do, the more good we can do.
Absolutely.
We're able to instill that into people I help, the people that come to events, the people listening to this, my children, our family. Anything I can do to instill that into others is just a privilege. And that's why I'm here. Extreme confidence is that cherry on the top of, man, there are some things that can really break through. They've worked for me. It's a privilege to help other people experience those things too.
Yeah.
That's me, Jill.
I know, Mark. I know.
Wow. Did I even answer the question? No, I'm just kidding. I talked about working, right? We always have great conversations.
I know. And it's always so inspiring. And Jenny has said she's gonna have to catch up the rest later. She's got to go, but she said really inspiring, Martin. But it makes such a difference when we have inspiring conversations.
Yeah.
And when we listen to inspiring talks, because we're filled up with inspiration, and we go out and then we do the same.
Yeah. Well, it's like taking that exact analogy, the first time somebody comes up to you and goes, "We're going to break this arrow on your throat," it's like, shut up. No, we're not. That's not even possible. Then you see the trainer do it. In that moment, your brain is rewired to think it's possible. Literally, the thing I thought was impossible 2 seconds ago is apparently possible.
Yeah.
The classic example of this, I now use this as the example, but the classic example is Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. Right?
Yeah.
In the history of time, nobody could do it. Your lungs are going to explode. It's humanly not possible to do it.
Then he did it.
Then he did it. And then what was it? About 6 months later, somebody else did it. And then somebody else did it. And somebody else did it.
Yeah.
But they have to see somebody do it before. But you got to be that person that does it first. There's always somebody that does it first. And that's the hope that I wish to bring to others. I'm not here to kind of inspire and motivate and rah and get you feeling good in the moment. I want you to feel good in the moment. I want you to take something away to go, what's possible?
Yeah.
If Martin did this, Martin was at death's door beyond. He was really stressed. He was on the same path that I'm on. He's got a family. He's got juggling this. He's doing this. He set up a business. Whatever it might be, I did it. And I'm not trying to be some martyr or some role model. It's not like I very sure about it, really. But it's like, if I can do it, and what I've discovered is if you have the right framework, if you have the right strategy, if you have the right people around you, you've got the right environment, you've got the right resources, anything's pretty much possible.
Yeah.
And so it's just then figuring out, well, what do you want? Not 97 things, because you can't do 97 things at once. What do you want right now? What is it that you'd really like that you're not doing? And then we can figure out, well, why aren't you doing them? Why is that?
Yeah.
We can do it through. I love doing that, but now I've just got that extra armory to go, that might be a good thing to anchor into one of these activities.
Yeah.
How about we look at that?
And
so
I always think as well, when somebody says something is hard to do or too hard to do, then I just think, well, maybe it's hard for them. Because they don't have that desire to do it anyway.
Yeah. And we're getting into an interesting conversation there about what do you really want. So there's plenty of people that are, like, no disrespect, will moan about their life. I used to be one of them, right? No matter what success looked like, and the holidays and the cars and the money and the status and all that, irrespective of that, I used to complain because I wasn't happy at my core. I knew that I was not living to my values, to my beliefs. I was all over the place.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that will, say, oh, this and this and this, but they're not actually taking any action to overcome that or get to where they want to get to. It's often one of those conversations. I'm sure a lot of coaches here can resonate. And somebody say, I want to get here. This is what I want. And then you kind of review, well, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? And like everything they're doing is taking them in this direction, not that direction. So sometimes it's like we just got to kind of like have a bit of redirect and a little shift, because the little shift is what's going to get you in the right direction. But we get so caught up, don't we? We just get caught up in our routines and our habits and our thinking and our thoughts of what we think is possible, what's not possible, and what other people are saying, and what the internet's saying, and what social media is saying, and all the things we talked about earlier about, competition or being resentful or comparing, or it's like, we get so caught up in that, when sometimes, as I certainly did, you lose yourself when you do all of that. And when you lose yourself, you are not your best self. And I'm not saying you'll go down the exact route that I went down, because it was very extreme. But at best, you might be pretty darn miserable for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Do you know, Martin, I listened to a young guy who's actually been listened to by an awful lot of young people, say just starting in university. And
Yeah.
his talk was, I can't remember the subject of it, it was archaeology or something. And his talk was that was his love, but he said, you can't make a living at it. And he did this big talk about the thing that you really desire to do is highly unlikely you'll be able to make a living at it. And what you need to do is go out and be able to do a job that's going to pay all this money. That means you can do that for fun. And, and everybody's listening to him. And it was like a couple of days later, I was reading an article about a young guy who was making a living at exactly the thing he was saying you couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's two things you've reminded me of there. So the thing about like university, and you know, I went to university, okay, and lots of people do. You know, I think it's something crazy. Like don't quote me on it, but I think it's something crazy. Like 80% of people that go to university don't then use the thing that they studied at university. So they've got all this debt, and then they don't actually go into the industry that they were studying. You know, if you're a teacher, that's different, right? Teachers tend to go and teach, but generally they don't. And it's a bit like that. But all you need is one person to go, yeah, you can't make a living out of this. So, I'll enjoy this whilst I'm studying it, and then I'll go get a proper job. Oh no, don't go get a proper job. Please follow your passions, follow your dreams. Because the other thing you reminded me of, this is exactly what happens to like musicians, for example, or actors. I want to be a musician. Oh, I want to act. What do the people around you say? Oh, you can't do that. There's no money in that. There's like only the creme de la creme, the 1% actually make any money out of that. You know, don't waste your time with that. If it's in here, if it's your heart's desire, if it's the thing that is driving your purpose, and I have the absolute privilege of mentoring a musician and going through all the negativity and all the naysays, you wouldn't believe what they've had to go through. But now see them do amazing things, being in the room with amazing people, getting the opportunities that they get. They're not where they want to be yet, but if they had listened to all the naysayers, if they had listened to their own doubts and fears, they wouldn't be living their dream right now.
No, and you know, I was talking to a young guy only a couple of weeks ago at a wedding, and I asked him what he did, and he and his band do weddings, and events, and
way to make it work.
And he said we make a living at it. And he had no desire to go, you know, and be like top of the pops or anything. He just wanted to be able to play music and make a living at it. And they were doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly that, right? So the archaeology thing is like, oh, you can't be Indiana Jones, right? Yeah, can't. So forget it. Right? But even Indiana Jones he did have a professor job, but you know, no, it's nothing in it, you know. And Jurassic Park makes it look really cool and stuff, but you know, there's no, you can't do it. And then the music is like, yeah, you can't be Beyonce or you know Eminem or you know Michael Bublé. You can't. But every single one of those started somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, Michael started off in the clubs and the coffee shops, and you start somewhere, but you have the belief, and you refine your talent, you refine what you're good at, what your passion is, and you put the work in, and you keep showing up, and you keep showing up. This is not just music; this is life. Keep showing up. You know, in business, keep showing up. Right? And it's what you are just immaculate at doing, Jill. You keep showing up, you keep adding value. It doesn't matter what the response is, it doesn't matter how many live viewers we get, it doesn't matter how many comments we get, you keep showing up. That has built your credibility, that has built your brand, has built you as somebody who is a giver, that people can tap into all those resources, all the things you've got and put out there into the world. They can tap into them at any moment in time.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, they wouldn't. And you wouldn't have given the platform to a lot of the speakers that that have gone on to do amazing things, because they came along on here and you gave them a voice, you gave them a platform. We all start with something, and we've just got to have a little bit of belief. And if I discovered, if we don't have belief in ourselves, then maybe find somebody that has got belief in us, and that'll be contagious. And over time, you'll work it through, and you'll be living how you want to be living.
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is life. This is my world. And okay, extreme confidence is just that extra bit that can attract some new people into my world that goes, right, we want a part of that because we want to break through. But equally, for the stuff that I already do, it's a powerful addition, because it's like, right, okay, this thing keeps cropping up. You get it as well, right? As a coach. Some people say, this thing keeps cropping up. It's like, you address that.
Yeah.
It keeps, like, okay, we need to, and you do different tacks, and you approach it in different ways, and you use a different strategy. And it's like, this is one of those different ways that I can now use to help in that regard, as well as all the other things that I can do.
Yeah.
So, like I said, anything that I can do to learn or experience or to have that can then help others, I will put myself in that position, because I know the power of it. And I'm never going to be selfish and just keep it all to myself. There's no point in that. I think the greatest gift that you can ever do is to help somebody, give somebody their full time, to help them with your life lessons and what's worked for you, to help them so they don't suffer like you did.
Yeah.
Base your thought on business, on life. The greatest gift we'd give anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
whew.
Wow.
Jill, cover. I think we've covered like anything and everything.
Yeah. And what struck me early on when we were talking is, we don't always realize that when we're living somewhere that we don't really want to, that it's comfortable.
Yeah.
That being in the job you don't really want to be in, the driving to work, all the things that go in to make up that day every day.
Yeah.
Where you think, oh, it's just another day.
Mm-hmm.
It's still comfortable, isn't it?
It is. Though most of those 20 years I spent in corporate, I did not like it. Yeah, I was doing some good stuff by customers and the industry and the colleagues, but I didn't. I was beside myself.
Yeah.
I got to get out, and But so why did I stay? I could have left at any time.
Do you know, it's like an uncomfortable settee that if you sit on a certain way is comfortable enough.
Comfortable enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And life experiences, and it could be a job, let's say, it could be a relationship, it could be an association with our health, or it could be something in business, keeping us stuck. 9 times out of 10, in my experience, the thing keeping somebody stuck in that is just fear of the unknown.
Mm.
Oh, there's a segue. What did I put on my board? I need certainty.
Yeah.
Our brains like certainty.
Yeah.
And even if the thing around us or the thing we're experiencing isn't serving us, is making us miserable or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If that's the case, our brain is going to go, better the devil you know.
Yeah.
I don't like this, but at least I know it.
Yeah.
This thing where you're talking about making a change, making a move, doing something different. Ooh, taking some action we haven't taken before. Whoa, hold on. That's change. That's uncertainty. I don't know what that looks like. I would rather stay here in the pits of hell than go over there, because it might be worse.
Yeah.
And that's our survival brain, right?
Yeah.
It's
And we got loads of sayings, like you said, better the devil we know, out of the frying pan into the fire.
the fire.
We got all these things ingrained into us.
Yeah, we're conditioned like that. And not from some thing trying to control us. It's just
No,
culture and how we've grown up.
just passed down and down and down.
And like I said, it's interesting, isn't it? Those two little phrases. And you could just go, oh, whatever, just like little phrases, aren't they?
Yeah,
Not behind that is a belief.
yeah.
So
That
as soon as you go,
impacts our lives.
oh, don't know about that. Yeah, it keeps us playing small, keeps us
Yeah.
stuck, keeps us in environments we don't want to be in relationships we don't want to be in, not having the health we want or the business, whatever it might be. These things keep us stuck.
Yeah,
But it's our brain, the irony being, it's our brain trying to keep us safe. But sometimes it tries to keep us too safe.
mm,
We don't have a saber-toothed tiger trying to get us now.
no,
The classic, isn't it?
yeah,
But it's a different world. But when we're stuck in this, it's very difficult for us to find a way out ourselves. That's the power of tapping into somebody else.
yeah,
And I give you one of my favorite frameworks about any kind of change or anything that you want to kind of to get that clarity. You kind of go, what is it? It's the 3 W's. It's what is it that you want? Really get specific about what it is, what it feels like, what it looks like. Really, without clarity, without a destination, you can't put something in your sat nav. So
no,
really understand what it is that you want. Not again, like we said earlier, not 97 things. Let's focus down on one thing that you want right now.
yeah,
Why do you want it? Go deep on why, not just the first surface level answer. Go deep. One of another favorite framework, 7 layers deep.
yeah,
Ask yourself that question, 7 times. I
yeah,
want to get fit because I just want to get fit. I'm let myself go. Right, okay, why is that important? No. Okay, because when I wake up in the morning, I get these chest pains. Okay, why is it important that you don't have that? Well, I'll kind of, I want to be around for my kids. Okay, why is that important? Well, because right now I can't be. I go out in the garden, and within like 2 meters of chasing them around the garden, I'm out of breath. I can't even hold them above my head. Okay, why is that important? You start going deep,
yeah,
you're going to find time and energy to work out, right?
yeah,
Any frame, what is it? Get clear on what it is. Because again, use that fitness example. I want to get fit. Well, what does that mean? Is that an ultra marathon? Or is that I just want to be able to lift my kids above my head and chase them around the room? There's a very different training regime. And you love your training, right? So that depending on the outcome you want, you have a different training. But it's the same in life, people.
yeah,
What you want, it will depend on what path you get there. And sometimes the path goes like this. And sometimes there's liberal paths. Great. But you got to know what it is that you're going for, and why you want it. Because as soon as the first stumbling block comes along, as soon as it starts raining, you give up. It's because your why's not deep enough. But trust me, you've gone deep on this, and it's like, I want to be around for my kids because it's not my experience, right? Just to say, my dad wasn't around for me because he was so ill all the time, and he missed out on our childhood and our grandchildren, and right. You could have a story like that. That's why, right? It's dark, it's raining. I don't feel like it today. Yeah, I'm doing it because my why is so freaking deep that nothing's getting in my way. Yeah. If something does get in my way, I'll find a way around. I'll find another route, like your sat nav. There's a road closure. You don't go back home.
no,
You find another route, right?
yeah,
What, why, and usually the thing that people say is how. They jump to go, right, this is what I want. This is why I want it. How am I going to get it?
yeah,
All right. And the how will bamboozle people. It will be the thing because they don't know how. They go, well, how am I going to find the time? How am I going to find the energy? How am I going to find the money? How am I going to find the customers? How am I going to find the courage to pluck up How, and you'll talk yourself out of it. It's not how, it's the 3 W's. It's what, why, and who. Who can help you? Who can help you? Who's already done it? Who's got experience in this? They might be 1 step ahead of you. They might be 10 steps ahead of you. Who can you speak to that has got some experience in the thing that you want, and they are willing, I mean, fourth W, right? They're willing to share what they know so that you can make some progress. You can build some momentum. 3 W's, one of the big, powerful frameworks that I use. What, why, and who. You know, don't get stuck on how. The how will come.
Yeah.
They will be figured out.
Yeah.
You know? But don't try and sort it out yourself. You know,
No,
I know there
no.
are very disciplined and independent people, and they can do it. But in my experience, people need guidance. They need accountability. They need somebody to be able to talk it through with them. They need somebody there on an ongoing basis, so that when things do get tough, they get reminded of why they were doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, the beauty of what we do. You know, and again, in those sorts of situations, you know, again, we talked about that. Where does extreme confidence fit into that? Well, if we've gone through this, we've gone, this is clearly what I want. You know, this is why I want it. What's holding you back? And you spend some time just, you know, what could potentially get in your way? What are the obstacles that could get in your way? Because if we can address them up front, when they arrive, we can nail them, right? Yeah. Along with our deep why. If we've done a board break or an hour break or a glass wall, and we've tackled some of those things that are going to be the biggest things that could get in our way, we're off to the races, right? There's nothing going to stop us, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it all kind of ties together. You know, it's about finding ways that you can use different strategies, different techniques, different experiences. And I love physical experiences. You know, I love talking, clearly, because I think this is now about 3 hours long. I love the physical, because you ain't gonna forget that. You know, I'm not saying you forget to talk, but you embody it, like we said earlier, in a different way. You do something completely unexpected. You break a pattern in your body, because your body's like, what am I doing? And whether you're climbing or whether you're breaking an arrow or you're forward breaking, it's like, whatever you're doing, it's like, wow, you know, all of a sudden you're wired different. You know, and you can live, you know, you get that clarity, you've got that deep why, you found out who, and you can live with extreme confidence. You know, no matter what comes in your way, no matter what obstacles there is, you'll know that you can find a way.
Yes.
You know that you can go through it or over it or under it or whatever it might be around it.
Yeah.
You'll find a way. You know? And it's a privilege to help people on their journeys.
Yeah. Because there is always a way.
There is, you know. I know we're going on for forever. Here's another really important message that the universe reminded me to share not so long ago. I did a separate post about it. What Dear Evan Hansen, the musical and the movie, reminded me to share with people. One of the things that I share is exactly this. You know, there is always a conversation you haven't had, and there is always somebody you haven't spoken to, and there is always something you haven't done. So when you find yourself and you're going, I've tried it all, this isn't going to work, you know, there's always, and I know this to be true, because in my darkest moment when I made that ultimate permanent decision, I believed I'd tried everything. I believed I'd had all the conversations with the doctors, the counselors, and everybody. I believed I'd had all the medication. I believed I'd had every conversation. I spoke to everybody I needed to, been on all the training, but I'd done everything, and I was still getting worse. It was one of the drivers for me. I have done everything I possibly can. I've had all this support, and I'm not getting any better, and I feel horrific. My only decision is this. Trust me, if I can get to that point, and I was wrong, and people are, of course you were wrong, man. There's always something to live for. But trust me, when you're in that place where you think you are so, you know, compromised mentally and physically, and you believe that with every core of your body, you don't see it. Conversation saved my life with my guardian angel wife. And that And that was the catalyst to where I am right now. So you're right, there is always, always, always a way. And both of us are living proof of that.
Yeah.
You know, the example I always come back to is that one, because it doesn't get any more powerful than, you know, I had no other choice than.
Yeah.
Right? Oh man, we should dissect this one up into bite-sized chunks. This could be a Netflix series, Jill.
It could, couldn't it? I mean, literally, it really could, because it's pretty phenomenal. It is extraordinary.
We've
And
covered so much. Like you say, we come in and say, and this happens with us, you know, because we're just caring human beings that want to help other people. And, you know, we come in and go, oh, we've got this new thing, extreme confidence. And we've talked about that.
mm,
But it's not about the novelty of an arrow or a board or glass, or
no,
it's not about the novelty. That is a strategy, a technique that can
Yeah.
help everything else that we've talked about. You've got a team that's not performing. You've got a business that's not performing. You want to take your business or team to the next level. You want to take yourself to the next level. You want to tackle this challenge you've got in your life, this difficult thing that's been bugging you for years. This is what we're talking about.
yeah,
And there's this extreme confidence way now that I can help. I can bring that to my armory. And, you know, not just for me, but to get it out there to help other people with their audiences, with their clients, you know, with their customers, with the people they support, their followers, the people that attend their events, you know, their businesses. This is about them, you know, and anything I can do to help, then, you know, I'm here, and I'm pleased that it's already resonated, and people are already, you know, asking me about it and booking me up and wanting to talk to me like a good self. And this is the first time, like we said, I've got to really express where this has all come from and what this really means.
yeah.
You know, and it's been a privilege. I don't think there's a better place really to have started that conversation with you, Jill, because more than
Thank
anybody,
you.
you get it. So
I
thank
do,
you.
Martin, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the depth of you that you share.
Thank you.
And I'm honored that you're here with me and sharing it with everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just me being me, right?
I know, and
But-
you are special. We're all special. And, you know, I think everybody's special, but I want you to know I think that you're special.
Thank you. That means a lot. You're special too. You know that, right? We
Thank
covered that.
you.
Definitely. And the people in the community, you're special too. Yes, you watching right now. You that have been on here for the last 3 hours. Congratulations. Well done. You're special too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Would you like to see a live demonstration?
I
Like
would,
to a grand finale.
I
and
would
we talk
love
about
that.
so many things. I've done so much product placement. Would you like me to see me break an arrow live and exclusive to you?
I would love it, Martin. Thank you.
Not as a novelty, but now
No.
everyone knows the context of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have spent time anchoring in, you know, a belief here,
Yeah.
limiting beliefs of things that are holding me back, because there's always something, you know, no matter what we're doing, there's always something we want to be better at, do better at. And so, and this is the one, this is the lucky one. So, you know, again, there's no fakery about this. That is a metal
No.
tip. I got something metal in front of me. That is as
Yeah.
metal as it gets. You know, that's where the string goes.
Yeah.
It's wood. How, right?
Don't slap yourself about now.
There's not a break in here. It don't break. So, and what is this? This is about, I think this is a 30 inches, this one. It's a 30-inch arrow. So I'm going to go off. I'm going to put myself outside where I'm going to do this.
Okay.
I'll hook up the camera and then I'll join you in a minute. So
Okay, Martin.
quick commercial break for everybody.
Okay.
For me, Jill, and I'll be back in just a minute.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we have a quick, as Martin said, commercial break, although it's not really a commercial break. And Martin is headed out into the garden to set himself up outside with his camera. And we will see Martin demonstrate breaking the arrow, putting it on that fleshy part there. And as he said, he's already anchored in a limiting belief into the arrow. And he's going to burst that, explode it, whatever word you want to think of, that limiting belief. And it is an amazing thing to do, isn't it? Something where you anchor in a belief to something. You know, a lot of people, they'll write something down and then burn it, and that's the same sort of thing. But to then have that broken arrow, and as Martin said, some people bind them together or frame them, but to have that as a reminder, and you could write your limiting belief on there. I mean, you could end up with a whole row of arrows breaking all those limiting beliefs. And you know, the same with walking on the glass. It's here's Martin, not limiting things or minimizing things, but actually showing that you are bigger than them.
I heard every word. That was amazing, Jill.
Oh, thank you, Martin.
You can come to all my events. Right, I'm just going to check that you can see see this here.
Yeah.
You can see, yeah, you can see the whole thing there. Okay, so, and the funny thing is, the reason I'm doing it outside is we've got like a newer house. So the walls in the newer house are like paper thin. So if I was to do this against the wall, it would literally go straight through the wall and I'd hurt myself. And
Oh, you don't want to do that.
And, you know, at the end of the day, my wife wouldn't want a great big hole in the wall, right? So, you know, that's the most
I had this vision of little holes popping up all over the place, you know, limiting, look at all of Martin's limiting beliefs burst.
We're at it again. Look at all these flipping holes. Right. Oh, brilliant. But we're not using the fence. I know you can see the fence. I'm using this pole here. Nice concrete pole, okay. And like I said, this is the exact same arrow. So metal tipped. Don't try this at home. Like I said, there's no fakery around this, but you know, it's a process and a privilege to share this with you. My first, you know, live virtual arrow break demonstration.
Yeah.
It's a bit breezy, but that ain't gonna put me off. I'm not firing the arrows. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So here we go. So again, what we do is we put this against here. And this is going right here. Right. There's no trickery here. It's going right in there. Okay.
Carolyn's just joined us. She said, "Thank heavens there's replay. You're just making the first ever live demonstration, Carolyn, of Martin breaking the arrow on the fleshy part, right there."
For all those, yeah, right here. Don't try this at home, Carolyn. Right. Okay. Metal tip.
Woo! Wow.
Right. Thank you for witnessing that. It's always an emotional experience. You know, a lot gets released with that. And just pick that up. There it is.
Yeah.
I might this has gone into 3. There's a bit missing.
I thought I saw a bit fly off. Yeah.
I'll pick that one up at some point. That's it's powerful. You know, no matter how many times I do it, you know, it's still powerful. There's always something that, you know, that's holding you back, something anchoring in. And every time you do it, you realize, you know, what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And people often don't realize what they're capable of. We talked about it, playing small and not living their best life and not really going out there and doing what they're built for, you know, their purpose. And this kind of reminds me, you know, very powerfully just what we're capable of doing. And like I say, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to be with you, you know, to share.
Oh, it's a privilege
everything
to
we talked
see that.
And for this, and you know, I'll get the replay and I'll do a little slow motion for you, and that's always fun. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for witnessing that and allowing me to do that and for being here.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much. And you know, we can't top that. There's nothing more we can do. That was absolutely phenomenal. And we're going to stop the live stream now. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
With us or watching.
If anyone's got any questions or queries about everything we've talked about, then please just drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause we covered a lot today. You know,
Yeah.
So if you're interested in extreme confidence or any of all the stuff, that life stuff that we've talked about, then you'll share. By sharing, you'll inspire somebody else. And if you're thinking it, then I'm sure somebody else is thinking it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Share and comment.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you.